yeah, if you can, then go for it.
Okay.
Okay. We are recording to the cloud now. And I would like to introduce phonics-based student-centered elementary lesson plan with Amy Long of Dave and Amy's English School. So please go, Amy.
Okay, so first I'm just going to like chat for a little bit and then I'll share a screen. So I'm Amy. I'll just introduce myself a bit more. And I've been in Japan since 1996, I know, which is a lifetime. And I met my husband here. He's from England, I'm from America. And we opened up our first English school when my oldest child was born in 2004. And at first it wasn't very big, but slowly grown. And now it's 4 schools with 4 locations and 6 teachers. And we've made like text and materials to like go along with our lessons. And I just want to share with you guys what we do in our normal lessons. So obviously today, my normal presentations, I don't know if anyone's seen me present before, is very interactive, and there's lots of, you know, I'll ask questions and get responses. Unfortunately today that probably won't work. So what I would like you to do is, if you have anything you want to say or any questions, please put them in the comments. And unfortunately, once I share the screen, I usually cannot see the comments, but Linda is going to be helping me. And if there's any time afterward, then we'll have a question and answer time. Feel free to ask anything, or we can discuss. What's the other thing? If you can, maybe put yourself on mute while we're in the actual session. And yeah, that's about it. Okay. Oh, and the other thing too is, if you have any questions, because this is only 45 minutes, feel free to contact me afterward. If you just look up Dave and Amy Gaines, our email is there, and you can contact us and ask any questions and stuff. Okay. All right. So I'm going to attempt to share screen, and hopefully everything works fine. Okay, so everyone can see, and you can just raise your hand. Linda, you can see, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay, then. Okay, so this is, I want to be clear, this is our basic elementary lesson plan. So when kids come to us and they're complete beginners, they begin elementary 1. It doesn't matter if they're 1st grade, if they're 4th grade, whatever. For the most part, we find that they need to begin at elementary 1. And of course, if they're 4th grade or 5th grade, they'll probably zoom through it and get to elementary 2, elementary 3 quickly. If grade or even high level kindergarten, we find it takes about a year. But they come to us and they're complete beginners. We have expectations. As soon as they come to us, we tell moms and dads in the trial lessons, in 6 months' time, this is what we expect from our students. So before I go to the next slide, I want you to just think by yourselves, what would you expect your beginning ABC phonics elementary kids to be able to do in 6 months' time? Okay, so for us, this is what we want. And we want them to be able to ask and answer simple question and answers, read 3-letter words, read simple sentences. By simple, I mean it's a cat, it's a dog, and read simple questions and answers. What is it? It's a, is it a, yes it is, no it isn't. This is in 6 months, all children. Okay, most children will be able to do this after actually 3 or 4 months. Okay, writing is not just copying, but be able to look at a picture and write the correct letter, lowercase letter from memory, know lots of vocab, and be confident. Most important is probably the last one, be confident. We want our children to have the self-confidence to be able to do things by themselves and not be looking at me all the time. I like to think of myself as a lazy teacher, and by lazy I mean I like to do as little as possible and have the children do it. So this is the way, and I think by doing that, the children are doing that, the children are learning. So I'm always in my head thinking, don't do, have the children do it. Very the opposite of this, to be honest. So this is the problem with these presentations. This is actually the opposite of the way I teach. Okay, so how do we do this? Okay, our normal lesson plan, and this is for all elementary. So whether they're elementary 1, elementary 2, elementary 3, I don't care. This is the basic lesson plan. And the only thing that you change is the activities, the difficulty of the activities. But the actual lesson plan is the same. So it makes lesson planning very easy if you have in your head, okay, 60 minutes, this is what we're going to do. So a normal 60-minute lesson plan is 30 minutes of games and flashcards. And that usually works out to either 2 or 3 activities. And it's either 10 minutes or 15 or 15 minutes. That's normal. If you think of lesson planning in that way, then it doesn't become overwhelming. You just think, okay, what are my 2 games that I'm going to play for this class? Then we use 10 minutes of question cards. And again, it's not always the same, the question card. None of these are always the same. But if you think in your head, okay, we want to have 10 minutes of dedicated question time where kids are asking and answering. Of course, throughout the lesson, they're asking and answering, but dedicated time. And then about 20 minutes of writing. And that's the normal lesson plan. Of course, we change the order. Like sometimes we begin with the writing, then we do question, then we do the games and flashcards, or we begin with question cards. It changes. But it's a simple plan that goes for all the levels. Okay, so let's go to the first one. With everything, these are our tips for the writing, the speaking, the flashcards, the activities, for how your lessons can be the most effective. Don't rush. So I'm very against kids rushing through games and finished and rushing finished, because I'm always wondering, what have they actually learned? And if they're rushing through things, you really do have to wonder, wait a second, how much learning was there? Can they actually reproduce it later? So we like to slow things down, and kids learn thoroughly and learn well. And the way we do that, I'm going to skip down to the double and the triple check. Every activity is not just the activity. There's a check and another check and another check. That children will not rush through the activity because they know there's a check that we have to do afterward, and not that it's just another check after that. So they know that they will check themselves, but we have to check. So we like to make sure activities are not rushed, that kids are taking their time. The other thing is not helping. Like I said before, I like to think of myself as with my feet up with a cup of coffee and relaxing, and kids are doing. So as much as possible, the kids are doing. My main job is listening. And if the pronunciation is a bit strange, I will help out. If they have a little bit of trouble, I'll help out. But for the most part, independent learners, kids doing by themselves. One key tip is we teach the exact things in different ways. So for example, with the elementary 1 book, there's flashcards, there's bingo, there's a read and match, there's a flip and read, there's a go fish, all teaching the same vocabulary, the same ABC phonics, the same questions, the same answer, but it's all different, slightly different. So if the child, gets bored of, oh, I don't want to do this, but I like this one, it's the same thing, but it's different. So it's reinforcing constantly. Speak and do, that's an obvious one. They play games, even writing time, they should be speaking as they're writing, because your mouth, recently I've started to learn Portuguese, your mouth actually has to change to be able to get the different sounds. Okay, the double, triple check we've already said. And finally, if children are good at one level, have the exact same activity, the exact same game at the slightly higher level so they can go up. And kids love it. So if you say, for example, they're on ABC phonics A for this game, then you make a big deal about, oh, now you're up to B, now you're up to C. Now, and by doing that, they can go up to actually reading in 3 to 6 months times. Okay, so let's just begin. Okay, so one of the things that kids do when they come in, one of the games that we like to play is flip and read. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but we'll just go through it real quick. I'll go through the points, and this can be for any game you play. Have a system and making sure there's checks so kids are not rushing through it. Okay, so with this game, and any game that you want to do, have a system. Okay, so with this game, it's 8 games, and a child will take one game. And what they do if they're beginning ABC kids is they speak and put down. Okay, so the main reason is they're beginners.
And if you move on to Unit 4, the new target is verbs. But you also
they need to be speaking in order to get the vocabulary. And of course, if they don't know something, they should ask you. So they should speak elephant, go, jam, queen, saying the words. Okay, this is a full game. Okay, so the kids turn over and they need to match duh to dog, match the vocabulary. And again, speaking. So it's not just silent, because again, if you allow children to do things quickly, they'll do it quickly and finish, and then I don't know how much they've actually learned. Okay, so da dog, sa sun. As much as possible, the children are learning by themselves, but of course, if they're beginners, I might have to do sa, and I might have to point at 2 or 3 to give them a little hint. But as much as possible, I want them to be learning on their own. Okay, they're finished. It's actually not finished. This is what I mean by a check. So with this game, and I encourage you with any game to try to think of your checks. The check, we have 2 checks. So the first is to say all the words again. Okay, and the reason children do this, again, if they're beginners, these are probably new words, and it's getting them in their head. Say all the words. The final check, which is the more difficult one, is this side, and looking at the lowercase and saying the word associated. So dog, jam, elephant, 4. One thing about this, and any game you play, is children, for example, they might say dog, jump, egg, but in this game, it was dog, jam, elephant. And kids can say the other words, but we want them to say the word that was in the game, because if you allow children to say only the word that always pops in their mind for C, for example, cat, if they only ever say cat, then they're missing out. They're not learning all those other ka words like car, cop, cap. So it's quite important that, yes, they can say cat, but they also need to say what was actually in the game so that they're learning more words. And keep in mind, as I said before, we go by level. So this game is the easiest level. When they know all the words and the phonics in this level, then they go to level 2, then they go to level 3, and they go up. And by doing this, they know their phonics very well, they know the sounds, and they know many, many words. And this is how your children can be readers of 3-letter words, questions, and answers after 3 to 6 months, by being very rigorous and kids knowing. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, this is actually I hope the video plays. My kindergarten kids actually playing this game, and I'm hoping it's going to play. Please play. Oh, yes. Oh, no. Okay, back. Okay. Play.
Cat, tiger, lion, nut, Nut.
Nut, good, Asahi, nut. Violin.
Apple.
Apple, go, okay, Asahi, let's begin. This was actually yesterday, I took this video. Apple, Hiroto. Apple, let's go. It's important if you play in groups. I'd play in groups of tops of 3, but
Check.
most
The first time we'll do check this side.
Apple.
Apple, good. Apple, good.
Book.
Book.
Cat. Lion.
Yeah, good. And then check this side, okay? Let's go.
Apple.
Apple, good.
Book.
Book.
Book. Cat. Lion. Nut.
Okay, and again, when this becomes easy, we level up to the next
Yeah,
level.
there you go, finished. Okay,
These
great.
are 5 years old. These are the kindergarten kids. They're not actually writing, but they do this before they begin writing. But the exact same activity we use with beginning elementary kids. So I just want to go down. Okay, so as I said before, I made a mistake with reading much, but there's different levels. And by going up to the next level and the next level, children will become proficient readers after 3 to 6 months time. Okay, so the next one I want to show you is actually the flip and read. This is what we expect children to do probably after 6 months time. They go up to the activities for the next textbook, but they are actually still writing on the elementary one. But they should be able to read and do the things on the next textbook after 6 months time. Okay, so I'll just show you this one. This is what we expect children to do after 6 months time.
Okay, let's go. Will she?
I apologize in the train.
She has something.
If you can see, it's the exact same type of game, but the level levels up. So now
Yes,
we're
she-
question and answer, and there's different checks. And this is the question and answer that we have in the next book. So even if they're writing at the lower book, they're getting ready for the next book.
Is he a boxer? Yes. Yes, he. Oh,
And
Oh,
again,
I'm dentist.
finished, but with our
is he a
names,
dentist?
it's
Finished and check.
so the check.
That's what it says.
So they need to reread it. So with readers, it's
Okay.
important the pronunciation. So is it open? No, it's closed.
Finished? Okay.
And I want to actually. So this is her check, and the final check with readers. The most important final check is the picture side, because they want to be able to look at a picture and say full questions, full answers, full statements. Okay, so the main point of this is, regardless of your level, have specific checks
On spring.
of your lesson. Okay, so as you can see, she's learning words, she's learning vocabulary, she's learning grammar, and all of that Mona does absolutely well. So for trying to sell you a lesson, they can see that.
Good. Yucky. Yucky.
Okay, so we'll go to the next one. So when she finally finishes that, then she's actually finished, and we give her another game, another type of game. Okay, all right. So, yeah, the main point is, I said before about teach the same things in different ways. So a beginning activity, we might do flip and read, we might do read and match, we might do go fish, we might do flashcards, it doesn't matter. But it's the same thing in different ways. So children are learning through their textbook, but they're also learning through all the different games. Okay, let's go to the next one. And again, going up in level. Okay, so I said before, a normal lesson is about 20, what was it before? It was about 20 to 30 minutes of games, 10 minutes of question time, and about 20 to 30 minutes of writing time for a normal 60-minute lesson. Okay, so question time. If they're beginning elementary, we have question cards like this. There's about 27 of them, and the easiest level has Japanese on the back because obviously they're beginners. So if they have trouble, obviously what school do you go to? What's your, that's kind of difficult. So the Japanese is on the back so that they can look. The higher levels of question cards don't have any Japanese on the back. It becomes more difficult. And these questions are, when they come in, we're just asking them, what's your name? How old are you? What school do you go to? So they're hearing it. But we have dedicated question time where they're reading it. And at first they cannot read. Like, so this is maybe after 6 months by themselves, they can read. But at first, maybe the teacher will hold the card and go through together, and then each student question and answer with each other and back. But as soon as possible, when children can actually read, we will put the kids in groups of 3 and groups of 3, and one student has the questions and will ask and show it to the next student. They answer and ask with groups of 3 as much as possible, because we want the students speaking more. So the students will hear these questions from you many times in the classroom. They'll read these, and they're actually, these questions are in their textbooks. So 3 different ways that they're getting these questions. And yes, it looks daunting, but they will be able to understand and to read them by themselves after 6 months time. First together though. Okay, so I'll go through what we're going to see. I actually made a videotape of my younger kids, my 5 and 6-year-olds, using the previous questions, but for some reason my video wouldn't upload. So I'm showing you a video of older kids using question cards from the higher level textbook. Okay, so anyway, let's just play this one.
Third grade.
What grade are you in? I'm in 3rd grade.
Excellent.
Can you run fast?
Okay, so as you can see, it's very simple. Like once you have the students in a system, then you can give the students the question cards and they can do by themselves. So normally we'll have them in groups of 3, and one student will ask and answer about 10 to 15 cards around in a circle, and they finish, then we give new cards to the next person and around. Okay, all right, so we'll go on to the next. So question time, usually we'll do it in that format and different formats, but about 10 minutes. And then we like to play another game. And again, sometimes it's themselves or in groups of 2, or sometimes whole class. So right now I'd like to show, this is a beginning bingo that we'll play with obviously beginning elementary students, but also higher level kindergarten students. So what I like about this bingo is it's double-sided. So you can decide to either use the letter side or you can decide to use the picture side. And children can decide themselves which side to use. Okay, so also the calling cards, you can either use the letter side or the picture side, or you can use both. Okay, so like this. Okay, so, or you can just do letter to letter. But the point is, it's the same game, and each time you could play it differently. And again, this is actually the lower level bingo with the easier words and the easier phonics. There's still ABC phonics, higher level bingo, and there's B, level B. And then when they finally finish with that, we do 3-letter word bingo and then longer word bingo. So there's a variety of ways you can play. So this again, this was actually yesterday, and this was with the kindergarten students. So we use the same games to get them ready, if there are students, to get them ready for elementary. If they come to us and they're a complete beginner, elementary, they'll be doing the same thing. It just so happens if you're a kindergarten student, you'll be getting ready for writing by doing what we'll be doing with the elementary students anyway.
Or this side.
Okay, so give them a
This side, please.
side.
This side, please. Okay, here you are. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
There's
So
lessons
Hiroto,
all night.
do you want this side or this side?
Because of COVID,
This
we
side,
have a
please.
number of,
Here you are. Oh, what is it? Dinosaur. Here you are.
because our teachers have gotten sick.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, ready? Let's go. Let's go. Oh, Hiroto, let's go. Asahi, let's go. Okay, let's go. Today it's sunny and rainy.
So it's hard to see,
I
but
have
I'd like
rainy.
to, if they're higher level, I'd like to give them hints, not
I
just
have
show them the
rainy.
word. And
Hiroto, I have rainy.
the picture side, so what I'll do.
I have rainy.
show them
Okay, Asahi and Hiroto, let's look.
so
Rainy.
they can start to get
Rainy.
and we'll play a
Rainy.
check. Each
Hiroto.
bingo, there's a check.
Rainy. There's gonna be a test later. Okay, so
Fast forward. Okay, so we just go through more things.
Amy, we couldn't hear
are
you
they
speaking
peppers? Are
over
they
your
tomatoes?
video.
Turn it. Okay.
Colors.
The video
It's
sounded.
a rubber, a rainbow. Rainbow.
I have rainbow.
And I have
4.
4. Good. I have 4.
I have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4.
I have 4. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to. Okay, actually, Hiroto and Asahi will clean up. 11. Rainy. Okay, let's clean up. Good. Hiroto, let's clean up. Rainbow. Toothbrush. 3. Rainy. Milk. Very good. Milk. Okay, and let's clean up. Put this one in here.
Okay, I just want to point out real quick, with the bingo, there's always checks. So the first check is where the children say the vocabulary one more time and clean up. And your job as a teacher is just making sure they're saying the vocabulary. But once they get used to that, they're pretty good about it.
Up. Clean up. So Asahi, here you are. Thank you. Hiroto, here you are. And this one too. Here you are.
Okay, and the final check is them looking at the letters that we just did. They were doing the picture side, but remembering what the vocabulary was.
11. 11. Good. These were 2 of them. Rainbow and one more. Rainbow and that's a rainbow and rainy. Very good. Rain.
Okay, so again, with all of your activities, bingo, whatever, just make sure that there's always different checks and that children are, like, the point of any activity is to be learning things. Okay, so a normal lesson is like that. So we'll do a game, question time, a game, then we
Or this side.
writing time. Okay, so this is elementary 1. And our normal lessons, children have 4 anchor words per letter when they're learning. And the reason we do 4 anchor words is, personally, I think if you have only 1 anchor word, it's underwhelming for the children. Like, they have the brain capacity to learn a lot more than just 1 word. And they can do it, and it just means they have more vocabulary. So we'll assign this for homework, and they need to remember the words. This sounds like a very small thing, but actually it's a big thing. And when children do their writing time, if this was for homework, we will ask them, what's this? What's this? If they know it well, we'll do a big check. And if they don't, we'll circle it, and we'll actually assign the same page for homework if they don't know it, because it's super important that they're getting these words in their heads. And I think when you tell your students what you expect, then they really want to excel, and they, come in hat, house, they know the words very well. Okay, so this is it. Again, I said we do questions throughout the lesson when kids are speaking, question time, but also in their books. And the reason we do this is moms and dads don't want their children just learning phonics. They want the questions, they want grammar, they want vocabulary. So if you have questions also, moms and dads are very happy about it. They're like, oh, my child is learning all of this, and it's in the book, so they can see what they're learning. And you can say, yes, we also do it in their classroom. Okay. So again, but our students, they can actually read this time by themselves. Okay. And this is what we call test pages. When students have these for homework, we say don't actually write it. We ask them to practice in a notebook, and they do test pages in the class. And the main reason is that I'm sure if you've had your students and you give them something to do and it comes back perfect, and then you give them a very similar page, something to do in the class book, and they make many mistakes, and you're like, oh, what happened there? And basically we think moms and dads maybe help a bit too much. So moms and dads, yes, at home help, but in the class, can the child actually do it? We want to know. So this will be done in class, but we encourage them to practice like this by writing in a notebook, writing the words in a notebook. And again, we don't want them writing the full word. That this is ABC phonics, but we do want them writing, for example, ant, the first one, 6, 1 and 2. The reason we put the full word is so that some kids are actually going to be able to start to read, but also there's no confusion. Many times I look at ABC phonics books and I'm like, oh, I have no idea what that picture is meant to be. But with the full word there, like pretty much anybody can figure it out. And the other thing too is, if you notice with six, we have s, they need to write, and the I, because we find that the vowels are the most difficult. So we put as much vowel practice as possible into it. And also we have dedicated pages where it's only 3-letter words like cap, cup, net, where they have to just write the middle vowel letter, because those are always the pages that have the most mistakes. Okay, so they'll do this for homework in a notebook. And their moms or dads, if they want, they don't have to, but if they want, they can check it. Because in class, if you notice, in class, we do scores. So we circle any mistakes and we will write the score for them. Okay, so they can do that for homework. Okay, so this is in class, they will do. And of course, we will circle the mistakes and write their number of points, and the kids erase the mistakes and will correct in class. And if they have many mistakes, the following week, we will erase the mistake areas and they do a second time. And if needed, they will do a third time the next week after that. If there's no mistakes or only one mistake, the child's done. They don't need to do the page again. But really a very important thing is to review and learn thoroughly, like everything else. Don't just rush through things. Have they actually learned? Can they actually do it by themselves? So the children, if they need to, will do 2 or 3 times. If they don't, that's fine. So each child will be working through the text at their own pace, which is fine too. That's completely fine. Okay, so the teacher will circle the mistakes, like I said, write the points, they'll erase the mistakes. The following week, they'll erase, the child does again, teacher writes a score, and if they're completely done, they just mark on it. So we know the page is done. It doesn't need to be done again. Okay, the class book is the same, but looks different. So writing time, a normal writing time, the teacher begins with this page at the top with the ones with mistakes. So they do the mistakes first, then they go and do what was assigned for homework, and then finally they'll go use the class book. And the class book is the exact same. They if they have many mistakes, they will do a second time or third time, no mistakes one time. And again, if you look at the page on the right, there's many pages with just dedicated vowel practice. So the main point is they're doing writing time. And again, with all of the activities, speaking, flashcards, whatever, there's checks, double checks, students doing it again if needed, and learning at the whole time. Okay, so that's our normal lesson plan. And oh yeah, I've written a lot about what we do in our lessons. After 25 years, we've kind of come up with, I've written about how we do our trial lessons, how we handle criers, everything that we do is written on the blog. So if you're interested, please look at the blog. And it, anyway, it goes up a bit more. So I'm going to stop the share now. Oh, by the way, if you want, you can use your phone to go onto the blog. So I'm going to stop the share now. And if we have any questions or answers, I'd like you guys to ask me anything. Okay, so let me stop. Oh, wait, I can do it.
We've had a couple of questions in the chat. Kevin asked, is there a CD or sound files that accompany these books so that students can practice at home?
So actually, we always tell our moms and dads that no, there isn't. And the reason is that English is a language that's a global language. And to say there's a correct pronunciation, moms and dads, oh, but my pronunciation is not very good. It doesn't matter. You know, your pronunciation is fine, because the point is that everybody has a different pronunciation. And so, yes, no, they're fine. And that is why, as I said before, we have the full word, because moms and dads will be used like helping their kids at home. Of course, those words, any of the words in that book are in the games. So they're also learning them through the games. But the point is, if there is a new word that the kid doesn't know, well, it's basically written there. So the moms and dads, and I say to the moms and dads, if the child comes into class and the pronunciation sounds a bit strange, we'll correct it in the class. But don't worry so much about that, because we want the students to be confident of their English, their pronunciation, and not be like, oh, I have to have the correct pronunciation. Okay, so no, there is no CD that goes with it, because I think everyone should be confident in their pronunciation, their English.
If someone has an iPhone, they can set the system to English and then use Hey Siri to check their pronunciation.
Yeah, well, that's true too. I mean, that's the thing too. Now everybody has, so many devices that they can help themselves with. Honestly, I can honestly say after 25 years, when I first came to Japan, it was a lot of katakana English, but you don't get that anymore at all now. I find the students have a really good pronunciation. So
yeah. And Michiko asks, what's the age that's old enough to understand the rules of bingo?
So my next presentation is about kindergarten kids, but from the age of 4. But we won't use the phonics bingo with them. We use like a bingo that goes along with their kindergarten text. So, but yeah, from the age of 4.
Years ago, I taught little kids, and an exceptional 3-year-old can understand.
Oh yeah, but no, from 4.
By 4, certainly.
Yeah,
most
from
students.
4 is no problem at all. And as I said, they enjoy it, because you might have noticed now, we used to, before COVID, it was one big table and the kids would be in pairs more, but now they each have their own individual desks. And for the most part, when they do things together, they're a little bit separated, like question time. So at the moment now, when we do bingo, for the most part, they're by themselves, which actually has lots of benefits, because it means everyone's speaking. They have to speak as they put down the token. So are there any more questions? So actually, I'd like to know, so you guys can write in if you want to, but like where is everyone based? So I'm in Saitama,
I'm in Matsuyama.
Matsuyama.
And anyone, if you have questions, you can unmute yourself and join in the question and answer. We
Yeah.
have
Oh, that's
5 more minutes.
Yeah, the other thing too, I was gonna say is feel free if anyone lives nearby. Sometimes it makes all the difference just to come and see. Feel free to actually come and visit, which is what I want to do whenever we start traveling again. But yeah, so but I've written about trial lessons on the blog. And I don't know if anyone read that blog, but lots of people say, oh, wow, thank you, because that really, really helped solidify how we do our trial lessons. And I can say that after all these years, I wrote that blog about 3-4 years ago, we still do the trial lessons in the same way. But the main difference now, because of COVID, it's fortunately, it's one family at a time. Whereas before I used to have 4 students, and then they would always bring loads of people. So like moms, dads, younger siblings. So there'd be like 25 to 30 people in this very small room. But yeah, now it's one-on-one for the most part. So, and also last year we took, like, obviously probably everybody did, but we took a big hit because obviously because of COVID. So our normal time, when we get students throughout the year, we have, like, we say come at any time, but our normal time to get most students is March and April. And last year that didn't happen at all, but we had the normal number of students leaving. And then we basically got no new students. And then finally from September, like 3 or 4 new students a week are joining. But yeah, from that last year, the big hit of, the normal students leaving and then not being able to do trial lessons like we normally do, it's very difficult. So, but anyway, we're hoping, we were happy, to be honest, that we're able to survive, and also because we have 6 teachers and they're also able to still have a job, because that's a good thing. So, but anyway, is there any other questions at all? No?
Well, our time is just about up, so I'd like to ask everybody to unmute yourselves and give a big round of applause to Amy. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, because to be honest, I'm not used to like presenting like this, so I'm used to like more interaction. So yeah, it's just a bit strange. Oh, sorry, can I ask, is this the first time? Have people seen me before?
My first time.
Your first time?
My first time too. This is Kevin.
Yeah.
My
But
second
Thank you
time.
very much.
Yeah.
I'll be checking out your website soon.
Yeah, no, please look at it, because as I said, it goes through loads and loads of, and like, yeah, if I'd had that when we were first beginning, that would have really helped. But we kind of developed the way we do things over the years, and I honestly can say that we're very happy. And when moms and dads come to your lessons, and you can show them a plan that makes sense, but also show them where they're going to be in 6 months' time, that's really super important. Moms and dads love that. They love that they can be like, oh, okay, this is your plan, but it's not going to always stay that way. I want them to be at this level this time. Okay,
I would like to see something like this for adults who are absolute beginners and don't know the alphabet.
Yes.
I've had occasional students like that.
Yeah.
And it would be very useful.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Okay. And Linda, thank you.
Okay, Amy,
Thanks, Amy.
I'm going to stop the recording. Let's see this stop button.